trial. So as you can see, so here it says here that you need to complete it with plunging attacks. So plunging is actually the attacks that you do when you are jumping from an elevated place. So I've already cleared everything, but we're gonna do this plunging trial first, just to give you an explanation. So the enemies are a pyro agent, an electrosis and mage, usual treasure hoarders, hilichurls, and the mutachurls, and some pyro slimes, geo slimes. Alright, so we go to the challenge. So for plunging, it says here, when plunging attacks hit opponents, each opponent hit will increase the attack of all characters in your party by 6% for 30 seconds. A maximum of 60% attack can be gained this way, meaning that you would be able to get, you can do plunge attacks times 10. Or plunge attack 1 and hit 10 enemies. So that can your entire party's attack can increase by 60%. Okay? And then another leyline disorder, it says here that all party members' punching attack damage increased by 120%. So for an example, if you're doing 100, that's going to be 220. It's going to be 220. So these are the characters that you are given for any of the trials. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna try with Albedo, Keqing, and because we have pyro slimes and pyro agents and those with pyro shields, so we're gonna use Mona, just so that Mona can take care of those pyro slimes, and then we can either use, for this one I'll use a Deona, just for the shield, additional shield and healing, and then we're gonna start. And then I'll explain each, like how it's done. I'll give a short introduction as to the characters themselves so that it would be easier for you to understand. Alright, so while we're here, I'll give a brief explanation as to the characters. So this is Albedo. So he is a limited edition 5-star character, who people are still waiting for his VRAD banner, but for now, it's given here. So he's a Geo character. What he does is swords, but his skill R2, using a PlayStation 4 controller, you can summon a flower. So let's see. So you hold R2 and then just place it wherever you want. So I'll place it here. You see this flower and you see this circle? This circle is the entire area to which this flower affects. So any enemy that is actually inside this flower will deal geo damage. Okay? And another good thing is if you go there to the flower, there will be like an elevator for it. So you can jump from here. Oh, sorry. Let's do that again. Let's place it here again. Let's try to use jump, attack, plunge. That's how you do plunge. Okay? Jump, attack, that's a plunge. So that's the plunge attack. And remember, when you do plunge attacks, you get an additional bonus in your attack. Okay? Up to 60% if you hit 10 opponents. So another thing is when you summon his flower,
Burst forth!
if you do any other elements, like for example, if you put Mona and put her this water thing, if there are enemies around that causes elemental reactions like freeze, superconduct, and everything, it will deal additional damage within this field. So it'll appear like an explosion, a geo flower explosions everywhere every time there's an elemental reaction. So it helps deal a lot more damage whenever there are elemental reactions within that flower. Alright? So that is Albedo's elemental skill. Now for his burst is something that we cannot show at the moment. So we're just gonna read it. This is his burst. So what this says is Geo Crystals surge and burst forth, dealing AoE Geo damage in front of him. Now, if a solar isotoma, this is the flower from the skill, remember, is on the field, 7 fatal blossoms will be generated in the solar isotoma field, that circle, bursting violently into bloom and dealing AoE Geo damage. So what this means is that when you burst, remember, when this flower is here, and then you burst, there will be 7 explosions, Geo explosions, basically. That's how I would explain it in simple terms. Alright, so that is an introduction to Albedo. Okay? This is his normal attack and skill. Alright. Okay. So
What a view.
What is
How about a quick break so I can sketch this
and try out Kiching. So Kiching's role is mainly for damage. She can cause elemental reactions with Electro, but her main role in this part is to deal fast damage. So her skill, if you hold R2, it's what you call Electro Stiletto. So if you summon it there,
speed of light,
it will deal electro damage within that area. Okay. Now you can also use it to teleport. So what you can also do is you can place it there, and then press R2 again, and Kiching will teleport there and do electro damage within a set area. Okay. So Kiching can just slash, do her thing, and be beautiful at it, because that's what she does. And then, if an enemy is far off, like let's say the enemy is right over here, and you're over here, what you can do is just place the stiletto there, and then teleport, and that's an automatic electro damage within that area. Alright? Now, let's say you don't have Albedo. You don't have his elevator flower. What you can do is you can use Kiching. You can bring the stiletto up, and then press skill again, teleport there, and then attack. That's a punch. Let's do that again. So you hold skill to place it, let go,
don't blink,
and then press it again, then attack. Okay, I will do that one last time. So we hold the stiletto, let go,
speed of light,
and then tap stiletto, and then attack in midair, punching attack. So that's how you do plunges with Kiching. Alright? And her burst is she basically does a wide area electro damage. So yeah, it's really just electro damage in a wide area. That's what she does. Alright? Now, the next one is Mona. What Mona does is her skill, if you tap it,
Shadows of Fate!
it will have this with the I don't know what you call that, but like an annoying picture of her.
Let me scry!
See, with the wink and the tongue out. Not wink, what do you call that? Like, it's meant to taunt. So when you say taunt, it means it will attract enemies. So let's tap the skill again. Tap.
Delve into destiny!
So any enemies within the area will not attack Mona, but will actually be drawn to the one that's over there. It's meant to attract the enemies. So let's say that you are surrounded with enemies here. You can tap.
Shadows of Fate!
And then leave out and just have all of the enemies gather there. And then you'll be safe for some time. Now what does the hold skill do? So for her skill, if you hold it, basically it's the same, but you dash backward. So say that you are fighting here and you need to escape. Just hold the skill and you will return back and it will still summon this taunt thing. Now this taunt thing will attract enemies and will also deal hydro damage within an area. So any enemies that come near it will be affected with hydro. Alright? Now, let's talk about Mona's burst, which is the triangle. For Mona's burst, so basically what she does is she traps opponents when if they are small or like weaker opponents, and then she deals hydro damage, and then at the same time the party deals additional increased damage to them when they have the omen sign. So the omen sign is something that is triggered whenever the enemies are attacked. Once they are like they have this sign in them. It's hard to hard to explain how that is. But basically for Mona, when you use her burst, she deals hydro damage in a wide area, and then she puts like a sign on them and then traps them, and then when you deal damage to those enemies that has those signs, it's an increased damage. So like say if your usual damage is 500, an increased damage would be like probably 700, 800 depending on how high the talent level is. Okay? So let's go with the last one. This is Diona. Diona is pretty cool. So her skill, or the R2, if you tap it, it will shoot 2 paws. Did you see the paws? The icy paws? Let's watch it again. See? There. So those are homing projectiles, meaning they will follow any enemies that is within distance. But this is just tap. So if you tap, she will also summon a shield, but the shield doesn't last very long because you're just tapping the skill. So with Diona, the best way to do this is to hold the skill. So when you hold the skill, instead of 2 icy paws, she will summon 5 icy paws to attack the enemy.
You can bully me!
See? Those are 5 icy paws, and at the same time, the shield that she generates lasts longer. Okay, now this shield is stronger the higher her HP is. So if my current Diona now is 23,000 HP, her HP would definitely, her shield would definitely be higher because her HP is high. So you see, it's 11.5% of max HP plus 1,299. So it scales off her HP. Right, now for her burst signature mix, this is when you press triangle. Basically what she does is she throws like a cocktail, like a bottle, on an area, and that bottle explodes and creates a circle, a blue circle field, and within that field, enemies that are in it will be dealt cryo damage, like every 1 second or 2 seconds. I forgot how often that is, but it's a consistent cryo damage within that circle, and then at the same time, when you're in that circle, you heal your HP. Alright? So that is how Diona is. Now, in terms of elemental reactions, what can we do with these characters? So with Geo, if you use any elements with a Geo character, they produce crystals, which is useful for shield. When you do Electro and Hydro, they do Electrocharged, which means like an overtime damage of electricity. If it's Hydro and Cryo, you can freeze enemies. Okay. Now when you do Cryo and Electro, it's Super Conduct. So what Super Conduct does is it decreases the enemy's resistance to physical attacks. So it's perfect for characters who just do normal attacks without elements. Alright, so let's try this dungeon. So this dungeon requires you to plunge. If you are too lazy, you can actually just hit this and it will generate a wind current, and then punch. Then punch again. And punch again. And punch again. Now, let's have it. Okay, on that. And then have the freeze them. There we go. And then cha-ching
With
with
sword
the
comes shadow.
electricity. Okay.
Come into being.
Let's have the flower in. Let's have Mona. Here's a current. Let's do that. Let's go up here. Oops. And that is how you do it. So you will see encounter traps like this. So like this one is a fire trap. So what works with fire? Water. So water shuts it down. Okay, so remember to do 5 of these to meet the requirements. So let's do this one. And then let's have Diona first.
Got me that time.
Freeze anyone that enters in. And then
Moment of birth.
what first?
Burst forth.
Let's
Incoming.
Right, so for this ice nade, oh oops, see, it followed. You want to freeze this one. Stay frozen. Let's taunt. Oops, I hate the high damage. This. And then ice pause again. Let's
Can't handle your drink, huh?
and then circle just to heal. Okay, now that that's done.
Speed of light. Cut to the chase.
Use it again. And chain.
Don't blink.
Kill. Oh, it died. So there. So you basically just go through there. Let's have a small character to pass through this faster. And then follow the red light. Where is the red light? There's a red light over there. So that is where we're going to go. So see this, break this, it will create the air current you need to launch.
Another test subject.
Fry!
But of course, the Yona is not made
Where'd that come from?
for that.
Freeze!
Let's get the shield up.
Witness my great undertaking!
Oops, I meant
Live!
the flower. But anyway,
Yeah.
the taunt.
Have a little taste.
Written in the
Tap on
stars.
burst. See, it traps them. See that? They're just over there.
Fry.
Yeah. Shaking and stirring. Look at you, Boozhound.
Come into being! Moment of birth!
Fate is upon you.
Ona, then
Nowhere to hide.
the chick increase damage. That is what this burst does.
Wrong test subject.
I need to go farther away. Let's taunt first, and then
Think you can bully me?
freeze, and then kitchen.
Incoming. With sword comes shadow.
Alright, but you have to remember that part of the achievement is to defeat enemies by plunging. Like a set number of enemies. Now I forget how many enemies is actually needed for this. But basically you get the gist. Alright, so let's try to do one time. Let's get this one that's here. Alright. Let's attack them only by plunging to get the achievement. I think you have to defeat like 10 enemies by plunging. So let's taunt them for them to go here. Attack.
Scribe.
Oops.
Yeah.
Tap. Okay. I think that should meet our quota.
Live!
So we have the flower of Albedo here. You
Witness
can
my great
burst,
undertaking.
deal tons of damage. See the explosions. You can also go up. Oh, it Well, 4. And
Over here. Got lucky that time.
attack. Punch. Let us taunt them with Monas. And then Diona should increase them.
You really know how to get me going.
And
Decided by
then
destiny.
burst for Mona for increased damage. And
Nowhere
then
to hide.
burst will take advantage of the increased damage buff. Up again with Genshin, Toledo, attack, punch. Alright?
The more, the merrier.
Moments of birth.
First, when the flower is up, so that see those explosions, beautiful. Mona taunts them, and then Diona sees them.
Look at you, Boozel.
The burst. Throws it. Alright. Now all set.
Longer.
Now we just need to go to the final stage and we should be able to complete this. Alright, I guess you get the gist of it. Let's go for the healing trial. So as you can see, it says here to heal a total of 50,000 HP during the healing trial. Okay? And then it also says here to use elemental bursts to defeat 10 opponents in the healing trial. So you can see we have a Pyro Abyss Mage, we have Geo Bishop. Basically those are the opponents. So let's go to challenge. We would want to have we're not going to use Albedo for now. What we're going to do is mostly for the healing team. So like for an example, we can do instead of Albedo, we can do Noel. And then of course we would still need our damagers, so there would be Genshin. And then we can use Mona. Actually, whoa. Since one of the requirements is to defeat enemies using elemental burst, we need people who can do burst damage, like a lot of burst damage. So it's either Albedo or Mona. So I think Mona will be better. So okay, let's do Noel, Kaching, Mona, and then either Diona to freeze or another Hydro like Barbara to help speed heal the team. But to make things easier for us, I would choose Diona just to freeze the enemies and help. So let's start. So what I'm gonna do is I'm only gonna be trying like 1 or 2 challenges, and then I'll exit and go to the next stage. So for Noelle, so basically, what she's a Claymore character. So normal attack. Her skill is a shield. So let me just check now if it's yep, there's no difference between tapping it or holding it. So either you tap it or hold it, it's the same. So for Noelle, if you use her skill,
I must leave no stone
she'll
unturned.
summon a shield. So what's gonna happen is every time you attack an opponent while the shield is up, she will heal the party. Okay? That's basically what she does. For her burst, the triangle, to explain it, basically what happens is the sword at her back, it becomes a geo sword, a very long geo sword. So when you do normal attacks, it does a huge sword swing. That is geo element. Alright? So let's try. So we want to get them to damage us a bit. So damage me. Come on, kill me. Oh no, don't kill me. Damage me. Alright, cool. Damage Leona. Come on, don't be shy. Oh, I hate this. Just spray water on them. When they do that.
Curses!
Spray water. Okay. Kitching, damage kitching, please. Alright.
Got lucky that time.
So you see that everyone in the team is already damaged. So what we're gonna do? Wait, let's just douse this first. Alright, so let's shield up.
Leave it all to me.
Noelle and then attack. See, the party, they are healing from it. That's what happens. Right, so let's put the taunt skill of Mona and then freeze them with Leona. Alright, and then Kiching with
Speed of light. Hey!
sorry, did not do that. So shield up. Just to heal everyone. And remember when you want to shield or you want to attack. So let's actually do
Fate
this
is upon you. With sword comes shadow.
Because you need to defeat 10 enemies using burst. So that's one. Let's use
Diana special!
Oh, it missed. Should kill. Oh, it. Anyway. So there. That is how you do this dungeon. Alright? Yep. So let's do the melee trial. So as you can see here, normal and charge attacks to defeat 12 opponents during the melee trial. Okay, so to get that, you need to kill 12 enemies using only normal or charged attacks. Okay? And destroy shields of Hilichurls 6 times. Okay? So you can see you have a Stone White Lava Churl, and you see a Pyro Abyss Mage there. So go to challenge. Now you see here, it says here in the ley line disorder that if the character wields a sword, claymore, or polearm, normal and charge attacks deal 75% increased damage, which is big. If the character wields a sword, claymore, or polearm, normal and charge attacks will unleash shockwaves when they hit opponents, dealing AoE damage. And they can be triggered every 2 seconds. So basically, if you're using a sword character, a claymore, polearm, their damage is increased by 75%, and every time they hit an opponent, it will create a shockwave that will deal additional damage to an area. Okay? So say that if your normal damage is 1000, 75% increased damage of that, your total damage will be 1750. That will be the damage instead. So it's a big damage increase. So we're gonna do Albedo. Since he's a sword character, we're gonna use Keqing since she's a sword character. And then for this one, we can do Beidou also. And then just for the heals, just Diona for the heals. Alright, so this is the party that we're gonna use. So let's start. Alright, so for this one, the new character will be Beidou. Now what Beidou does is her skill allows her to deal damage, electro slash, okay? But the best use of her skill is actually to hold it. So hold the skill, she will generate this like stance. So when enemies hit her within that stance, it will not deal damage to her, and she will return that damage twice, or depending on the multiplier, but she will return that damage back to the one that caused it, or the one that's in front of her. Alright? Her burst, by the way, is, let's read it. So we're calling her slaying of the great beast Haishan Baido calls upon the monstrous strength in the lightning to create a thunder beast charge around herself. So she has this thing that goes around her, dealing electro damage to nearby opponents. And when that is up, when that is circling around her, her normal and charge attacks, when they hit, they create a lightning discharge that can jump between opponents, dealing electro damage. Okay, and also it increases Beidou or whoever's on the field. It increases their resistance to interruption and decreases the damage that they take. Okay. So let's try this. This is melee, so you have to attack them with melee. So let's see here.
No excuse, you're slacking!
So basically there.
This should be fun.
Let's try
Not
it.
my duty. It isn't time for a break yet.
Right? So, let's try it this way.
It isn't time for a break yet.
But they're gonna attack soon. So there. Okay. So now that they have shield, a Hydro can easily be destroyed by using Cryo.
That seemed to work.
I missed. I'm so sorry.
No slacking off. It isn't time
Or
for
a
a break
feint.
yet. Not breaking a sweat. This should be fun. That's no slacking off. Now it can be.
Shake your hamster! Don't blink!
So we wanna kill them without Alright.
Get out of my way!
Remember, we have
Let go
base
of
damage
my work! Finished. Quiet.
with physical normal attacks, so just do your normal attacks. So let's do this one more time, and then we'll move on to the next. We don't have a hydro, so what can we do about the shield? So what we can do is
I'm
get
here.
our shield up.
Shake it and stir.
Have Vader.
Look at you,
Up.
Boozle.
Vader, the Claymore character, can actually destroy shields.
Scratch me.
Shows up.
You have it. Shake it and stir.
Or if you want to take it, if you want to make it easier, just bring up a pyro character like Amber, and have Amber do damage.
Pay your dues.
Shake it and stir. Can't handle your drink. To ashes.
Leaving so soon.
Coming to be.
Prepare yourself.
This is about the so let's get next is range trial. So defeat a total of 8 opponents in the range without letting them get within the specified range. So basically, you have to attack them far away and make sure that they don't get close to you. And then, so just defeat 8 without them getting close to you. You should get this reward. Okay, and then don't take damage more than 40 times, regardless of how big the damage is. Just don't get hit 40 times. Alright? And then you can actually bring a shield character, since it will negate the damage. So even if they hit you, you won't take damage from that, so it will not count. Alright? So you have a Ruin Raider, Geo Bishop, and Treasure Hoarders. Alright? So if you can go back, you'd see that there's no Pyro Abyss Mages. Alright, so Ley Line Disorder, if you can read it, it says that when there are no opponents around your current character, the damage dealt by all characters in your party is increased by 75%. And then when there are no opponents around your current character, the movement speed is also increased by 20%. And the consumption of stamina by sprinting and the fast sprinting is decreased by 50%. Alright, so remember this is a ranged trial, so we want to bring our characters that are ranged. So for this one, I will bring Sucrose, the only animal character that's in it, and then I would bring Amber, and then I would bring Barbara, and then Diona. Actually, no, not Barbara. I'll bring Mona, since mages also count as range. And then Diona. Alright? So let us start. So before we proceed, I'll explain to you the two new characters that we are using, Sucrose and Amber. Now Sucrose is an animal character, wind. So what do wind specialize in? They spread elements. So her skill has two uses. So you can tap one.
Stand clear!
What that butterfly does is it sucks opponents or enemies within that point and deal animal damage. And if there are elements, other elements that are in the area, it will spread it to the enemies. Alright? And her burst, the triangle, is just
Absorption test!
like it's like that butterfly, but it's way bigger and it stays on the field way longer too. And it absorbs any element, like if there's pyro, it will become a pyro butterfly and will just spread its wing and flap and deal fire damage within that area while sucking enemies within that point. Alright? She also increases the elemental mastery of the team, of the party. So every time you use this skill and switch to someone, their elemental mastery increases. So remember, the higher elemental mastery a character has, the higher damage when they do elemental actions, such as melt, vaporize, etc. Okay? Now Amber, I'm sure you've known her since she was the first character that you've gotten after the Traveler. So her skill is the Baron Bunny, which is similar to like what Mona does. So that what do you call this? That toy dances around and attracts enemies that are around it. So basically, it is dancing to attract the enemies. So once they are in there, it will explode after a certain time and deal pyro damage. Alright, and her burst is pretty easy to understand. Her burst, basically she fires fire arrows from the sky within a small red circle. Okay? And then her charge attack, of course, she can pyro charge attacks. If not, normal. If you let it wait and charge, it becomes pyro. Same for Diona. Normal. Let it wait and charge, it becomes cryo. Okay? So let's try. So for this one, I will bring out Mona to tempt
Let me
them.
scry!
Once they're tempted,
Absorption test!
so there.
Yeah.
Then Mona again, just to taunt them.
Animal test 6308. Enhanced animal module 75.
See, it becomes a pyro butterfly, spreading its wings and destroying everything. But let's throw the button so that it attracts that one and it doesn't attack us. And then we do charge fire attack. Did I do that?
Bet you can't keep up with me.
That was wrong since I was too close to it. I should let it. I should have killed it when it was far. Let's try this one.
I'll race you there.
Electro is cryo? Nope. Maybe pyro. Yep, it's pyro that shuts it down.
There's no end.
Let's get the pyro bunny there, and then let's
Jab and cross.
then
Absorption test.
let's throw some
Animal
of
test
them.
6308. Swirl,
Right, and they
Mark
have
2.
hydro in it, so it becomes a hydro butterfly.
Look at you,
Burst,
Boom
freeze them. Beautiful,
my hammer.
beautiful.
Think you can bully
Shield up.
me?
There, all done. Let's see. Melee ranged. Yep. Shield trial. So, defeat 10 opponents while you have a shield on, and then no more than 30 times. Don't take any damage. And then let's see, there's a pyro this mage, there's a cryo of this mage. So let's go. So for this one, Leyline Disorder, while protected by a shield, the damage dealt by characters is increased by 50%. Meaning, as long as you have a shield around you, your damage is increased by 50. Easy to understand, right? And the other disorder, Leyline Disorder, is that when a character obtains an elemental shard created from a georeaction, the crystals, they will unleash a shockwave that deals damage to opponents in an AoE. Okay? So with that said, let's bring Albedo again, since he can do that very easily. And then Diona will be our main shielder. So what we can do is we can just use our usual team of Kiching, Mona, and Diona. Alright? And then let us start. You can actually bring Noelle too, since she generates a shield around her. There's no need to explain about these characters since no one is new. So what we're gonna do is, before we start it, let's place the flower around here.
Live!
Let's start it, and then have Mona place it on. See those geo explosions for elemental reaction.
Let's go.
So we got the crystal shockwave. See, let's get the crystal shockwave again, and then let's get our shield up. There should be an increased damage. See, pretty easy, right?
Let's go.
Oh, who are you?
Speed of light.
Can't see me. I'm Mona.
Yeah.
Alright, let's get there. Let's freeze you. And while we have the shield up, let's... Oh,
Don't blink. Think you can bully me? Speed of light.
alright. So basically, that's how this is. Quite easy, right? Okay. So now let's go to the last one, which is the elemental reaction trial, I think. Although I can't remember if that is what it's called. Oops. So, elemental trial. So what this one does is use elemental reactions in the elemental trial to disable traps. So traps are, you know, those mechanisms that throw like a fireball at you or something. So you do elemental reactions to it. And then trigger at least 5 types of elemental reactions. So either swirl, crystallize, supercharge, freeze, any melt, vaporize, all of those. You just trigger 5 types and you'll get this reward. Okay? So all party members' elemental mastery is increased by 300, which again, the higher the elemental mastery, the higher the damage when you do reactions like melt, vaporize. And when a character triggers an elemental reaction on a nearby opponent, it will trigger a shockwave. So earlier in the shield, whenever we picked up that crystal, it was releasing a shockwave that damages enemies within the area. This time, when you do an elemental reaction, like for say if you freeze an opponent, it will release a shockwave that deals damage to the surrounding area. Alright? So for this one, I would actually prefer to use Sucrose, since it's easy to trigger elements with her butterfly. And then I will put Amber, Mona, and then Diona. I mean, we can also use Kitching, but this is my elemental mastery team. Like, they can easily generate reactions fast. So, let's start. So this is the last one, and again, there's no need for me to explain anyone else. This is the Disney music. Alright, so before we start, we can actually, let's put Mona's
Delve into destiny.
taunt there to attract them.
Oh, where'd that come from?
Let's shield up.
Let's go, let's go.
Mona, taunt them. Freeze them and swirl.
Stand clear.
Is that beautiful? And then
No one
Amber
escapes my sight.
vaporize.
Should.
Hey!
Vaporize. So there you go.
Such a pain.
Let's do one more since it's the last dungeon for 2. See, this is the trap. Use water to shut it down, and you need to do that 5 times with 5 traps. So let's start. Oops, I forgot to place. Okay, let's place this one.
Decided by destiny.
We've only just begun.
And then
Enhanced animal module 75. Can't handle your drink. Huh.
And then Amber
Let it rain.
for the melt damage.
Time for a break yet.
It's frozen.
Go, go, Baron Bunny. Yeah.
Okay, come over here.
Animal hypostasis emulation. Fate is upon you. Think you can bully me?
Frozen.
Diana special.
This should be
Vaporize.
fun.
Vaporize. Vaporize. Oh, this one is alive again, so let's just douse it with water.
Not breaking a sweat.
Let's shield up.
Absorption test.
Swirl. Swirl is also
Stand
an
clear.
element.
This should be fun.
Let's freeze. Let's freeze it.
Sketch. Swirl. Mark 2.
Not breaking a sweat.
Look at you, Boozhound. No escape.
Melt.
My work.
Finished. Go. So you notice that my time also increased, like from 13 minutes since it was to like around 17 or 18. So there are like non-red stuff bullets like this. So each of them have their own buffs. So like for an example, let's find one that's not red. Or this one. So this blue one, as you can see, has like this wing thing. So when you beat this challenge, your entire party will have increased speed. Increased speed. So let's try it out. So let's spread them on in and have Leona
Think you
freeze
can bully
them,
me?
and then spread them
Absorption
around
test.
with sucrose.
Animal test 6301. Enhanced animal module 75. Hey, get him. Decided by destiny. Diana special.
Alright, so we did it. Let's heal everyone up. So as you can notice, the speed actually increased for them. And that's a cryo trap, so to beat cryo, fire to shut it down. And you would see these dendro stuff. You just unleash pyro and it should be done. Shut down. So I think that met the 5 requirement already.